Hey guys, Jeff Francoeur here. Thanks for listening to our content, and please like and subscribe. Back to Pure Athlete. Guys, we had a blast hanging out with Savannah Bananas owner Jesse Cole. What a story of inspiration. You talk about being down to your last dollar and what he talked about, but believing in something so much that him and his wife just kept plunging forward, and now it's unbelievable what they're doing.
Man, this is a little bit outside of our lane because we don't just dig into youth sports. It is relevant. And so you'll hear some of that, but it's so inspiring and such an interesting episode of something he's doing in the world of sports. So we really thought it made sense to air this.
Yeah, former college baseball player, had an injury, and that was the start of just this amazing story, an inspirational story, like you said. But he's also trying to do something, I think, to transform the sport of baseball, and which I think is going to filter down, and I think he wants to do that, is filter down into youth baseball. And so, man, it was so much fun. I think are we going to show a clip of maybe a special guest appearance down there?
We're going to show it going forwards and backwards and head first slide from
I gave it all I had going back in retirement. But finishing up, I think the cool thing you said was, I do think it can teach you something, how many kids are loving this.
Yeah.
That's because they're having fun.
Yeah.
Right? It's not so serious or not serious. So I think he's on to something with that a little bit. And if anything, it just teaches you to really enjoy the game. So it was a great episode, like you said, a little something different than what we've done.
Yeah.
But we've never had anybody dress up in yellow, too, the whole time of the episode and look like a giant banana.
This is not an episode you're going to want to run on 1.25 speed because he already is on that.
He takes it. Right. He goes. So, so enjoy the episode, and thanks for hanging with us. Before we get to the podcast, if you have middle school or high school kids that play sports and you don't want to fundraise like me, we got you covered. My buddy Chris Carneal owns Booster. Chris?
We help schools and sports teams raise funds in a super fun and engaging way. In fact, the last 22 years, we've raised $750 million, and we can't wait to help you. Choose booster.com.
Welcome back to Pure Athlete. I am Jeff Francoeur along with Brad Williams and Britt Lee, and we have a special guest today. We're live from Coolray Field as the Savannah Bananas World Tour is going on, and we got the man that got all this rolling, Jesse Cole. Thanks for joining us.
Fired up to be with you guys.
So tell us, how's the tour been so far? I know a couple weeks ago, 41,000 in Houston.
Yeah, it's been a wild adventure. I mean, to think that from where we started 8 years ago, only selling a handful of tickets, and my wife and I having to sell our house, empty our savings account, to saying, hey, we're going to make baseball fun, to then playing in front of a sold-out crowd, 41,000 at Minute Maid Park, and we're playing in front of 1 million fans this year, and our wait list just passed over 2 million for tickets. It's unbelievable, but it's a testament to, I think, so many people that want to have fun and want to be a part of this game and want to see things they've never seen before in a baseball field, and that's what we're trying to create.
Were you and your wife ever sitting there some nights and wondering, what are we doing?
100%, yes. Almost every night. I mean, literally, we had a twin air bed, and we were grocery shopping with just $30 a week. I remember it vividly. And most nights we slept a couple hours, and we would just sit and look, and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And it was when we just started the team. We went to a ballpark you played at way back in the day, Grayson Stadium in Savannah, and the minor league team had left. And, they took everything in the ballpark, and we started with just myself, her, our 24-year-old team president, Jared, and two 22-year-olds right out of college. And we were like, we got to get people excited. And they were like, what is this? College summer baseball? Because that's what we started as before Banana Ball. And they used to have professional baseball. So no one's like, this isn't going to work. No one's going to come. And we sold 2 tickets in our first few months. And, for months, we're like, we got to get people to experience it. We have a vision. We're going to have a senior citizen dance team called the Bananas. We're going to have a breakdancing coach. We're going to have a banana band. And it's just going to be fun baseball. But they had to experience it first. And that was the key to get to that opening night.
So how do we get from there to fully garbed in bright yellow suit and hat? Tell us about that.
Well, I first started with a team in Gastonia, North Carolina, and as a GM at 23 years old. And the only way you get a job as a GM at 23 is it has to be the worst team in the entire country. And literally there was $268 in the bank account when I started, and only 200 fans coming to the games. And I realized I had no idea what I was going to do. How am I going to turn around this team? So I started reading every book about P.T. Barnum, Walt Disney, Bill Veeck, started studying Circus Soleil, Vince McMahon, WWE. I looked at it all because I was like, we can't be a baseball business. We're the lowest level of, college summer baseball. And so I started reading about P.T. Barnum. I was like, he knew how to create attention. I was like, if I'm going to be on the field, hosting grandma beauty pageants and flatulence fun nights, a lot of things that didn't work. All right. I can't be dressed like everyone else. So I actually, my first night I wore a black tuxedo, but it was like 100 degrees. I almost melted. And so I found a yellow. So I was wearing this before the Bananas. People didn't realize that. And then when we became the Bananas, it was the perfect fit.
Natural.
And more than anything, it's you guys as a baseball player, when you put on your uniform, that it's game time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different gear, And so when I started putting this on, I realized it's showtime. And this became my uniform. And it said, all right, let's really go all in. Let's amp this up. And more than anything now, it gives our team permission to have fun. If your owner's running around in a yellow tuxedo,
I guess you're right.
The rest of the guys like, hey, we don't need to take ourselves too seriously. We need to have fun out here. And it's really become my calling card. And I think it's become a lot more for some other people to see, hey, we can be ourselves and be a little crazy.
So Jesse, let's go way back. Tell us about growing up. Tell us about your childhood. Tell us about your baseball experience, your sports experience, kind of what led to this point.
Sure. Well, I was an only child growing up. My parents got divorced as a kid. My mother had some serious challenges. So my dad fortunately raised me. And, it's crazy. I was actually an introvert. I was the shyest kid.
No.
And it's crazy. I know. No one believes it. I was the shyest kid growing up, and I grew up outside of Boston. And my dad won this opportunity for me to be honorary bat boy for the Red Sox. And I didn't know the Red Sox. I was 5 years old, but he was like, yeah, it's a great opportunity. And so he got me this chance. And I'm in the dugout before the game, and I'm sitting by myself. And I'm still shy and lonely. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, what is this? What is this? And then one player came up to me, and he came up and sat right down next to me and talked to me for 20 minutes. It was Lee Smith, Hall of Fame closer, Lee Smith. And so as he talked to me, and all of a sudden I started loving baseball and loving the Red Sox. I go, Dad, I love this team and I want to play baseball. And he's like, all right, we'll get you in T-ball. And I'll never forget, my dad tells this story all the time, but I went up to T-ball my first time. Again, I became that shy kid again. I walked up dragging the bat, and my dad yelled from the grandstand, Jess, swing hard in case you hit it. And I'm sitting there like, what? And it was from that moment my dad said, every time I came up, I would swing harder than ever. And every time my dad said, just keep swinging hard, keep swinging hard. And it's crazy. That mentality has stayed with me. So as a 5-year-old, I hit my first home run out of the fence when I was 9 years old, started hitting a lot of home runs because I just swung hard. I swung and missed a ton. But I had a lot of success. And I was
like me.
We know about that, Jeff. All right. Hey, swing hard. Why not? And I was fortunate. So I had a lot of success. But, more than anything, I also learned about having fun. And, I had some great coaches that it was all about fun. And those memories, I remember it's 12 years old, we had those big boom boxes back then. And we'd come in, like even for games, we'd come in holding that, marching in from the outfield before a game, playing music. And like those things, we play shadow ball with no baseball. We did all those things. And it was like, I had the time of my life because I was playing for fun. And then as I grew and went to high school and college, and that's when I had put a lot of pressure on myself because of the competition and the demands. And that's when it changed a little bit.
So you went to Wofford?
Yes.
That's right. And you were a pitcher?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. So again, growing in Massachusetts, the baseball talent wasn't as widespread as it is down south here. And so I stood out, and I had professional scouts in my first few games in high school. I was lucky. I was a righty back then when 90 miles an hour was something.
Yeah,
it's different now, Jeff. Everyone's throwing 90.
Get you looked at.
It won't get you anything. So I was hitting 90. And so Boston College offered me a scholarship. Northeastern offered me a scholarship. But then Wofford came in and said, hey, we're going all in. We want you to hit and pitch. I was like, all right. And they showed me they're playing Georgia Tech, South Carolina, Clemson, Wake Forest, Texas Tech. I'm like, let's do this. And fortunately, so I came in with the biggest scholarship they've ever given to anyone. And I was the number one pitcher from day one as a freshman, and I was hitting. And so I started my career. I was so fortunate. I was the Southern Conference Player of the Month as a freshman, went 9 for 16 at the plate, hit home runs, pitched well. And then I started to put even more pressure on myself. And that's when it changed, because I realized I was having a scholarship, which 3, 4, 5, 6 of my players were equaling my scholarship. And every night pitching Friday night, I started just not to pitch. I threw almost 100 innings as a freshman, but I didn't play up to my level, and still started hearing from scouts. I had, about 4 or 5 letters. I used to get a Christmas letter from the New York Mets every single, I know Mets and I know, but I used to get a Christmas letter from them with Shea Stadium with snow on it. It was a really cool it was really sweet. And then my junior year, after throwing, 200 plus innings and two-way playing the outfield, I tore my shoulder. And just like that, 3 tears in my shoulder, it was over. But at that moment, as I stood there, what am I going to do? This is my life. Fortunately, now I look back, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I didn't go to play independent ball or it was a 40th round draft pick. I ended up going into work in the front office and creating this. So it's weird how it all works out.
It is. It's amazing. Now, were you in the theater? I read somewhere you get involved
You've
in
done your
theater.
background.
Yeah.
I wasn't intentionally in the theater. After I tore my shoulder, I designed my own major, which is, I guess, makes sense in retrospect. But they had like business econ. I was like, I'll go into business. But it's like, you got to take, macroeconomics, microeconomics, and calculus. I'm like, I'm not taking calculus. I don't need to know calculus. And so I saw a major about humanities and it was like, what's this? And our advisor laughed. He goes, actually, no one's ever done that major. I go, what do you mean? Well, you have to create your own major and do a cross-disciplinary study. And I was like, I want to do that. It's like, well, what do you want to study? I go, leadership. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I want to learn about the greatest leaders of time, from like looking at presidents, looking at military, looking at business. I want to learn about that. It's like, all right, you have to design it own and you're gonna have to make your own curriculum. And so part of it you had to do, I did English, history, and then it's like, well, you also, for leadership, how do you speak? How do you present? How do you get in front of people? So I was like, all right, let's do theater. So I went into theater. I actually was a part of creating my own children's theater production. And I started doing all that. And now it's ironic because this is what we do. It's theater, Broadway, and baseball. And I learned about that. And it's just weird how those things work out. I wouldn't have got into the extra theater if I didn't tear my shoulder. So it all led one thing to the other.
When you look back now, what I know you said in Savannah you didn't pack the place right away, but what made you want to go from kind of a collegiate baseball to really the Savannah Bananas and what they are now?
I don't think people understand the true obsession we have with our fans. I mean, we are fanatical about our fans. It's our number one leadership principle. The name of our company is Fans First. Our mission, fans first, entertain always. Every decision we make, we ask, is it fans first? Now that sounds all great, but it's very simple because watching baseball, playing baseball, I started to realize something. I was like, I was actually bored. I understood the game. You play the game, it's a hit and run situation. What's happening here? They're moving the outfield here. They're doing this. I was bored. And if I played the game, how can I be bored? So if we really want to create something that's truly for the fans, how do you create it where it's fun for everyone? And so we started that with, our first coach, Sean West, who was all in on the entertainment, just having the time of our life out there. But I realized that even with selling out our games, fans were still leaving games early. And I was watching this. I was like, are you kidding me? We have our Bananas dancing. We got our pep band. Our players are dancing. It is nonstop entertainment. Why are fans still leaving? So I put myself in their shoes and was watching. I was like, all right, well, around 9 o'clock, they start to leave. Then 9:15, they're really leaving. 9:30, no matter what. I was like, we got to create a game that people want more, not want to leave. This, like, obviously a World Series game, people stay to the end. Yeah. But in a regular baseball game, they come late, they leave early.
My kids are gone by the 6th.
Fundamental problem. All right, you don't go to a great movie and say, oh, that was a great movie. I left in the middle. Yeah. You don't do that. So I started doing it. And what I learned from Walt Disney as I studied, it was like, he always put himself in his guest's shoes. He'd always walk around. He said, whenever I go on a ride, I'm asking what's wrong with this thing and how it could be improved. So I said, if fans are leaving, we got to change the game. We can't just add more entertainment. So I started saying, what are all the most boring parts of a baseball game? I looked at every single one. I was like, stepping out of the box. I actually timed Yasiel Puig at bat.
Oh,
I watched one bat. This is crazy. He had 6 pitches. It was 28 to 32 seconds in between each pitch. That's a 3 to 4 minute at bat. So I was like, all right, no stepping out, done. What else? Walks, boring. It's an athletic event. Why are you just walking or doing a slow jog to first? Boring. Started looking at mound visits. Oh, it takes so much time. Just get the new pitcher in. Why are we doing all this? And I started keep looking at all those things. And I was like, we just got to do a 2-hour time limit, no matter what. And then I was like, well, how do we involve the fans? What's fans first? Well, what if fans catch a foul ball? It's an out. So ironically, I started writing all these ideas back in 2017, 2018. And I said, let's just try one. And so let's just try a game. And so we tried it at a college. One of my former college coaches was coaching at Lander. We played 9 innings in 99 minutes. And I talked to the players afterwards. They said it was the most fun we've ever had playing a game. No fans there. I go, we're on to something. So then we tested in 2020 and during COVID with very few fans there. We tested again 2021 with the One City World Tour. And I said, you know what? This is what's best for fans. This nonstop game. We were watching 98% of our fans stayed till the last pitch. We kept track every single game, 98%. All right, we're on to something. So then we said, all right, we won the Coastal Plain League Championship our first year with Sean West. We won it 2021 with Coach Gillum. We won it again in 2022. I was like, all right, we've done that. We've won the championship. We're good. Let's go all in on banana ball. And you better believe we got criticized. Baseball purists, people who said, what are you guys doing? And I believe if you're not getting criticized, sometimes you're playing it too safe. Jeff Bezos said you need to be willing to be misunderstood. So we went into banana ball, got criticism. Then a few years later, now we're fortunate to
You're doing okay. You're doing okay.
We're
Yeah,
doing
it's doing
okay.
all right.
Created something pretty special.
You got over the Sean West.
Got over the
that
challenges
era.
with Coach West,
Yeah.
but you got to be able to zoom out. I watched the great show, The Queen's Gambit, and it was about playing chess, and she's like, you got to see the whole chessboard. A lot of people just judge you by one move, and they don't zoom out. I was like, if you zoom out and you see now we have 2 teams, we have 3 teams, and we're building banana ball all over the country. Zoom out. It's a much bigger play than people realize, involving youth sports, involving what we're trying to create, because we see a game of the future. We see there's boxing, great, and there's UFC. There was wrestling way back in the day, and then there was WWE. We believe we can build something truly special. So at first, you're going to be misunderstood. And that's what happened. But, we got some pretty good plans ahead of us.
So Jesse, we were talking before we came on air about the whole idea of fun in youth sports. And just like fans were leaving early, I mean, kids are departing sports in droves.
It's huge.
At 12 and 13 years old today because they're not having fun.
Yeah.
So share some of your thoughts about all that.
Well, if you look at the state of play that just came out recently, it's fascinating. Youth sports in baseball down 20%. 600,000 less kids playing. That's unbelievable. That's staggering. And then obviously you got the individual sports, golf and tennis dominating as far as more people playing because it's easier and there's a lot of challenges. So people ask, what are the reasons why? And you can make a lot of arguments. You could say, obviously, the cost of travel ball. You could say it's not as fun. It's not as easy to play anymore. It's not as simple. For us, it goes down to, I believe it's about just making the game more fun and easy. I have 3 kids, 2 5-year-olds. My son, Maverick, he literally every day we play in the backyard. He's emulating every banana ball player, but he comes up and does their entrance because every one of our guys has he's like, now coming up, Mr. Jones and me. And he's like, he does everybody's entrance. I'm watching this. And you know what he's doing in the backyard? He's not catching balls normal. Literally, coaches would kill me. He's doing trick plays. He catches every ball between his legs. He throws it behind his back because he's watching our players doing that. He's choosing to go play himself. Back in the day, you'd watch Ken Griffey Jr. have fun. You'd watch Ozzie Smith. You'd watch Pedro Martinez. You'd watch all that because there wasn't social media. That was prevalent. And so kids wanted to be like their superstars. Now they're seeing Major League Baseball and the players are pretty similar in what they're doing. You're not seeing the flair because it's not being endorsed. Mm-hmm. And at the college level, as we talked about, you can't celebrate or you get thrown out of games. Yeah. And so we teach our players, hey, express themselves, have fun. And the more they do that, the more we're seeing kids that want to play. I mean, at Halloween, there were hundreds of kids dressed up as our players. And I never would have imagined that, but they're watching them having fun. So I think the key is just how do you make it fun? And then also, how do you make it easier for kids to play? Not say it's $1,000, $2,000 to go play travel. Give them an opportunity right away to play and make it fun, make it easy and accessible. And then they'll find ways to play even more. And so, we're doing a tournament this year, Banana Ball. We believe there's an opportunity in the youth in the future. I mean, we still got a lot we're focusing on here with our world tour, but we're going to take that one city world tour approach, do one tournament. Then it might turn into 3. Then it could turn into a youth league. Then it could turn into more.
And they're playing banana ball rules, right?
All banana ball. And again, you think about the speed of the game. Again, there's no stepping out. It's fast. And there'll be probably a shorter time limit. It could be an hour and a half. We're going to make it condensed. You want people to want more. That's the thing. As soon as people have had enough, as soon as I watch Mavericks, I'm good to go in. I'm like, all right, we're not doing something. It's not as fun anymore. And if you have all these kids like, how was Little League practice? It was okay. Well, you do the same fundamental, the same things. How do you add the fun element to it? And that's what, we're really obsessed with in the next few years.
Out of all the rules y'all have, what's one rule that you love and one rule you're like, I could see us getting rid of that?
Things have changed with the game. So the walk rule was, the idea was, how do you make what's the opposite of a walk? It's a sprint. So our whole premise is whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. No one gets excited about normal. So the walk rule was, at ball 4, it becomes a ball 4 sprint. And every player in the field has to touch the ball before the ball's live. So the hitter takes off full speed, running to first. He can get to second. And so we were having, the first time we ever did it, no one knew how to defend it. So Bill Leroy, who's still a star for us now, hit a home run on a walk. So as a pitcher, it's like, what just happened? And then it became triples. And then it became doubles. And then now they're getting the guys out at second because they're just playing this defense. They're coming in, they're flipping around. And so now it's become for like exaggerated, single. And I like the action of it. So we still have a few fast guys that go for it. So I want to think about how do we not just make that into the same point where it is almost a walk because now they know how to defend it so well. The rule I'm really proud of that we came in this year and, so fortunate we had, I started writing these rules in 2018. I do an idea book. So I started this 6-7 years ago. Every day, 10 ideas, thousands of terrible ideas. A lot of things like that will never work or that failed, like the living piñata, the bad idea, HR disaster, the pregnant woman dance off to Salt and Pepper's Push It. Like that was a whole nother, there's a lot of things that don't work. But for the ones that do work, it's because it really works well. And so idea book, the Hall of Fame, actually put my idea books where we came up with the ideas of Showball. It's in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, which is crazy. And when they called us and put us in the Hall of Fame, by the way, they had Lee Smith there to greet me, the person who I met when I was 5 years old and sat next to me. Just
crazy.
Unbelievably powerful. And so one of the rules I put there, but we didn't actually put into play until this year, was what we now call the golden batter rule. So I said, I love basketball and football, when at the end of the game, the best player can have the ball in their hands.
Yep.
You're going to have Tom Brady with a chance to potentially win the game. You're going to have the ball on LeBron and Kobe back in the day. You're going to have the ball in their hands. In baseball, your best hitter, you're not having Albert Pujols or, your best player at the end of the game. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's very slim, other than like that Mike Trout and Ohtani moment we had last year in the World Baseball Classic. So I said, all right, now the golden batter rule. At any point in the game, any batter can come up to bat once. So in the 9th inning with 2 outs, even if your number 3 hole hitter got out in the 8th inning, he can come back up. And so I put that in the rule book for 2018. We finally put it into play this year. And they're not using it every game, which I don't understand as a team. So they don't always use their golden batter rule. And I'm hoping that at the end of the game, your best hitter is coming up in the 9th inning with 2 outs, down by 1.
Yep.
So I want that to try to get used more. But, again, we evolve all the rules. We have a fan challenge rule. So if there's a bad call, we actually have one fan represents all 10,000 whatever fans, and they can challenge it. So that's a rule. I know I'm going into these a lot, but I love these rules because we learn from them. And in Houston, first play in the first inning, there was a triple, and the umpire called him safe. It was a bang, bang play. In section 202, a woman stands up with the fan challenge, blows confetti, and we had a challenge, and it's on the video board. And I'll never forget, they showed the video board in slow motion. They showed the tag just barely get him. The stadium, 41,000 people erupted. The call was overturned in the first inning. And I was like, that's why that rule was built. That fan changed the game. Now, just like we had a fan catch a foul ball to win a game, a 15-year-old kid. That's what Fans First is all about. Those are the rules that I really love.
Is anybody coming to you, or are you guys thinking about exporting this to any other sports?
I do get asked that question, but I think one thing is good enough now. We're just adjusting or changing or impacting one game. I think if we do that for the next 50, 100 years, I'll feel proud of that.
So Jesse, for all these kids that are dressing up as bananas at Halloween, dream of being a Savannah Banana one day, like what do you look for during the, I don't know if you call them auditions, you call them tryouts. What do you look at? What's the perfect banana type player or performer that you're looking for?
Yeah. At first, anybody that showed up to tryouts, we just thank you. Thank you. If we got, if we got 30 players, like, oh yeah, you guys are it. Like it was, and our first year was really hard to convince playing for a team called the Bananas, like before we were that, it was tough. I remember our first day in 2016, I actually talked to the guys about how to handle criticism of you play for a team named after a fruit.
How did you, sorry to interrupt, but how did you come up with the name Savannah Bananas?
So we did name the team contest, and everyone said, you're gonna go spirits, Savannah spirits, anchors, ports, something that fits Savannah. We had one woman, a 62-year-old nurse, Lynn Moses. She put down bananas out of thousands of suggestions. And we looked at it and we were like, yes, go Bananas. A senior citizen dance team, the Banana Nanas. A male cheerleading team, the Man-Nanas. Our mascot, Split. Can't stop the peeling. Banana in the pants. The ideas just started going. And so, yeah, when we named it, we were criticized. The owner should be thrown out of town. You're an embarrassment to the city. It was bad. Locally, we went out for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm getting booed. Literally, I was wearing banana stuff. I didn't have the tux. Boo! People were booing us. But again, you have to be well misunderstood. And once they realized that it was fun, people had pride. You don't call our town after a banana. Yeah. So yeah. So it answered your question. It was a lot of criticism, a lot of tough to get players involved. But then once they start seeing the social media and start seeing the response. So yes, every player before they have to send a video of what their talents are, why they want to be a part of this. We have a full audition form, a candidate form, when it's what other talents do you have? What other entertainment skills do you have? Not just, we have guys that are in affiliate ball right now, AA, AAA. They want to leave their contracts and come play. But if they're just a baseball player, we have guys that throw 94, 95, 96, 97, but you got to be more than that because we want to really engage with the fans. So then during our tryouts, we have a TikTok station, we have a dancing station, we have fun interviews where we'll interview people and like after wrestling, like we'll wrestle them and then interview them. We do all these things to see how they respond and can jump on that. And that's where we found a really group that we're truly proud of at this point.
So you guys have, I don't know what the number is, 500,000 people, 1 million people who are waiting for tickets.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot more than that.
Okay.
So it's well over 2 million.
So what is the next 3 to 5 years look like for you guys? And how do you satisfy that appetite that's out there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So everything goes into back to the one city world tour mentality. We're just all about testing and experimenting. And so I think we're going to test larger stadiums. We've been fortunate. There'll be football stadiums in the future. One of the biggest NFL college football stadiums. We're going to test international. The party animals now, I mean, it's crazy. So the Bananas might have 12, 13, 14 million followers. The party animals, they have more followers than every Major League Baseball team on TikTok.
Yeah.
So they're our number. They're our second team that we started, and they have more followers. And so now they're doing a headlining tour. They're selling out Vegas. They've got 300,000 on their own list. And then the Firefighters, that's our third team. It's all American brand. We got some very fun ideas we're going to do with that for the kids. And then, there'll be a fourth team and a fifth team. So everything is, I have so much respect and admiration for what the Globetrotters did to change basketball in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. I mean, they were playing in front of 75,000 in Berlin. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain played for them. They were selling out NBA games. But then what happened is it became a similar show over and over again. And there was 2 or 3 Globetrotter teams playing. We want people every night to come and see something they've never seen before. So you better believe the Bananas might be the greatest show in sports. The party animals are going to be the greatest party in sports. And then you'll have your third team, the Firefighters. They're going to create another show. It's like Circus Soleil. You want to see all the different shows and then potentially see them compete against each other so people won't get bored. They need to see more of it. And that's what we're working on. And so I think the next 3 to 5 years, you'll see more teams. You'll see some of the largest stadiums in the world. And you'll see us play places probably you never imagined a baseball team playing. That's what we'll look to do.
And I saw y'all are doing a cruise, right?
We're doing it. Might as well. Why not?
Wow.
Why not? Well, again, another test. We have these fans that are just so into it. So let's test a cruise. We have no idea how to do a cruise. We had no idea how to do a Major League Stadium. We had no idea how to do any of this, but you just test it and you do, and then you learn. So yeah, we're taking 2,000 fans on a cruise. We're getting off an island. Eventually, we're trying to be able to play a game right off, but we couldn't make the logistics work for many reasons. But no, they'll play wiffle ball games. They'll play that. And then, could we actually in the future take cruises to different islands and play games on different islands? Those are all the things, again, zooming out, seeing the whole chessboard, what we're trying to do. And that's fun for us.
So were the Globetrotters kind of the model at first, or was there I know you said you studied Disney, you studied P.T. Barnum. I mean, what was kind of your inspiration when you started thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously very aware of the Globetrotters. The Globetrotters were not the model because I only got to experience the Globetrotters the last 20 years. I didn't get to experience them back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Yeah. And I knew I didn't want to have the same type of show, the same confetti, the same slow motion. I wanted to create something different. I think WWE was a big, they're doing tours all over the country. Right. It was a huge inspiration, which is crazy because I'm not much of their music fan, but the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
So I studied numerous books on the Grateful Dead. They had deadheads that followed them around the entire country. And what the Dead did is they'd play 3 nights in a city and they wouldn't repeat one song once. They would play all new songs every night. So you got to see, what are they going to do next? That's what we try. That's why we do 10 to 15 brand new things every single night, which is unbelievably exhausting, very hard to come up with. But we want fans to feel like, I got to see another show. Again, I want more. I don't want to leave early. So they were a big inspiration watching them as well.
That's a great answer. That's the raving fans.
100%.
Almost like a cult-like following in a good way.
Still, even with Jerry Garcia, 30 years ago, the people are still following them because they built these fans that they're obsessed with what are they going to do next. And they're so obsessed with their craft. I want people to say they're obsessed with their craft. They look at every detail of the show. We start entertaining when people line up at 2:00. We have a show planned for when they line up in the plaza, 2, 3 o'clock. The game doesn't start till 7, but I don't want a fan bored out there. They want to have their best time. This is a bucket list trip for people. That obsession was what the Grateful Dead did, which is pretty cool.
It's interesting. A lot on this podcast, we talk about obviously youth sports, but the family dynamic too. And I know for you, I think it's cool because you are a busy man. You're traveling everywhere. You're putting this time, but I think it's really cool how you bring your family a lot of time with you because it's important to you.
Yeah. Well, it's huge. And I got to give 100% to my wife, Emily. We do this together. And, this is truly a family business. We have no outside investors, no other people. This is a family business. And Emily, we met in the industry and just fell in love with what we wanted to do for fans. And she had a big family. So 3 kids, 3 brothers. She was the older one taking care of everybody. And she always wanted to have a bigger family. And I was like, I was an only child. My dad was an only child. My dad's dad was an only child. My dad's dad's dad was an only child. We had 5 generations of boy, only child. So I was like, that's all I know. And so she's like, I want to have a bigger family. And so we had Maverick, our son, first son, kept the trend going. And she took me aside. She goes, Jesse, I've been following what's going on. Are you kind of aware of the foster world? What's going on? I go, what do you mean, the foster care? She's like, Jesse, there's 400,000 kids in the US who don't have a permanent home. I go, you got to be kidding me. She goes, it's not talked about. It's just one of those things that you don't really talk about. She goes, I think we should become foster parents. And I go, you help me pursue this dream of doing this at Bananas. I go, let's do it. And this was in the middle of COVID. So we got licensed in COVID. We got a call for a 2.5-year-old girl 3 years ago. She was nonverbal. She had gashes and cuts and challenges. And she became part of our family. Now, again, foster, you eventually try to get reunification. They're just a party but her mother had struggles. So a year goes by, 2 years go by. We get another call of a baby, 6 days old in the NICU that literally had numerous drugs in her system, struggling. She needed a home. So Emily was like, let's do it. So we bring her in. And so we had her with us. And now it gets to 2 years, 3 years, and didn't work out with the family. So it was just a month or two ago that we officially adopted them to be a part of our family. And so now the three of them, we travel constantly with us. And in the middle of that, Emily said, why don't we just try something else? She's like, hey, we should do more. We can't just, foster. So she's like, what about a nonprofit? And I was like, all right, let's go. What do we think? And she's like, well, there's just, what can we do? And I remember I woke up one night, I was thinking about it. And I was like, foster. I woke up and I said, Emma, she goes, what, Jesse? And I go to her with ideas all the time. She goes, what? I go, the nonprofit. It's called Bananas Foster. And she goes, love the name. All right. I go, but how do we recognize foster families instead of just talk about the need? And I said, why don't we just test a One City World Tour test, last tour? We honor a family that's done something truly big in the foster world in front of a sellout crowd and see what happens. So I'll never forget, we had a family, had 60 kids in their home, been foster parents for years. We brought them out in the field and we announced what they'd done and what the commitment they made to the community. Biggest standing ovation. The players ran out, everyone hugged. I was like, this is it. And now in just less than a year, we've had, well over 100 people sign up to become foster families. Thousands of people want to get involved. And we believe, just like we did with the Bananas, no one wanted to buy tickets. We only sold 2 when we started. Now we have a wait list over 2 million. What if with 400,000 kids in the US that don't have a permanent home, what if in a few years there's a wait list of families that want to be foster families? And so we might as well tackle that too.
That's amazing. What a great legacy.
Yeah, that's awesome. When do you rest?
That's what I
you do what gives you energy.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell from you guys, you enjoy this. It's like, you just do what gives you energy. Like, I'm bad at so many things out here, operations, finance, detail, but it's like, I love this.
Yeah.
And so I try to do more of it and it keeps me going.
That's awesome stuff, man. Very inspiring.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. My last question, man, and I know you've spent a lot of time with us. What would your message be to the kids out there that someday want to play for you, man, or at least just play a sport and have a great time doing it?
Yeah, well, I hate the cliche answer, but as I watched my 5-year-old son Maverick out there, just, hey, Dad, check out this trick play, and then after he celebrates and he does some of the celebrations that the guys do. It's like, hey, we don't need to take ourselves too seriously. Just go out there and have fun and do what gives you energy and just enjoy it. And I watch guys like, don't be afraid to do things different than everyone else. I mean, I know coming from a guy in a yellow tuxedo, that's very easy. It's very easy to say, but we always wanted to try to follow suit of what everyone else does. Be you. I just talked with one of our players. He goes, I want to let my hair go. I want to do this. One player, he paints his nails. Be you. Have fun. Express yourself. We need more of that out there. We weren't born to fit in. We were born to stand out. And I think that's what I tell guys. Be yourself. You just have the time of your life and just keep doing it.
Well, we thank you for just all you've done for making sports fun for kids again. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for coming to town, man.
I'm having a lot of fun. It's been a great time.
Wait, before we end here, now, when this airs next week, the show will have happened and somebody might be on that show and maybe a little dancing and what
we'll find out.
That's a big risk you're taking. Your brand may take a hit on this.
With the rain out tonight, which is Friday night, I get an extra night to sleep on it and prepare. I did tell you though, I did go down and take 35 swings down in the cave.
Nice.
So, and I will do it again tomorrow and give it everything I got. I truly can tell you my last at bat, last time I have faced a live pitch coming in, October 2nd, 2016.
Wow.
Last day of the season. So
I don't think
you're due.
The issue's not going to be your hitting. The issue's going to be your dancing. I'm not sure. I think that's where they're
we're just talking about expressing yourself and having fun. That's no one will know what happens to the bat. What are you going to do coming up?
I don't care what anybody else thinks of this my bat, but my wife and 4 kids are going to crush me. Dancing is not good, but
we're going to hopefully get some footage of all that.
We need to.
We will.
So you better hit that ball.
It's awesome, and I got to just tell you, thanks for having me and my family out, having these guys come out today, and it's been cool to watch your journey, man, but also bringing people along with you. And I think that's something that's really cool.
It's been a fun dream.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey guys, Jeff Rancourt here. Thanks for checking out Pure Athlete, and subscribe to our channel on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you go to listen to our podcast.